At the PC leadership debate in Ottawa, not all the action was confined to the podium. Indeed, check out some of the colourful characters we met on the convention floor. Well, in the next week, we'll find out who is going to be the next leader of the PC Party of Ontario. In the meantime, those who aren't running have plenty to say. Well, most of them do. But not Goldie Gameri, the controversial candidate representing the riding of Carleton. Now, you may recall my commentary last summer regarding Ms. Gameri. She allegedly operates under the alias of the Persian Cat, and some of her social media postings have been downright bizarre, such as allegedly writing that Jesus is worm food and Christianity is gay. Now, for months, I've been trying to get Ms. Gameri to confirm or deny if she is indeed the author of those statements, and for months she's been evasive. So when I finally got to meet her in Ottawa, I just had to ask the Persian Cat, what were you thinking?
Hi, how are you?
David Menzies, how you doing there?
Good, nice to meet you.
It's so great to... Oh, now did you actually say Jesus is worm food and Christianity is gay, Ms. Gameri? Well, you never know who you run into at a leadership debate, and I have Goldie Gameri, a.k.a. the Persian Cat, here, and we're still trying to get clarification if she was the writer of those statements. Ms. Gameri, Jesus is worm food? I guess that's a no comment.
Gee, what's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Anyway, we had much better luck with a couple of Rebel fans at the debate, decked out in officially licensed Rebel media merchandise, no less.
Well, I'm here with Mitch and Cynthia at the leadership debate, and anytime I see a fan of the Rebel.media wearing the official swag, you know the Menzoid is going to pull them over and find out what's going on. So, Cynthia, you're wearing the Make Canada Great Again hat with pride, I see.
Yes. Well, I had the MAGA hat. We went down for the Trump election, and I have that hat. I bought it in Washington. And so when I was waiting for Make Canada Great hat again, and finally it came out, and I snatched it. And I got it last week, and I thought, well, shall I wear it? I mean, it kind of like the shape of it looks like a farmer's kind of hat, and I have lots of curls, but I had to wear it.
I think it accentuates your eyes, actually. So, what do you ever get any kind of aggravation, whether it's your MAGA hat or this hat?
Not to, actually, that's funny that you, because we went to a Tim Hortons right before here. Now, when I wore the Trump hat, I had people dirty looking me, and one old lady saying, "Why do you wear that?" And I told her, I like Trump's policies. I never have this with this hat. We went to a Tim Hortons, and the girl behind the counter, and I thought, what is she going to say? She goes, "I like your hat. Yes, I can't wait to vote next year." And I said to her, Mickey Mouse could run next year, and he'll win.
Fantastic. Now, what brings you out to the leadership debate? Who are you supporting here?
Tanya. I'm pro-choice. I'm Catholic, and so Tanya first, Doug Ford second. The others, I'm not sure. They're kind of iffy to me. I don't read between the lines, and I'm not sure about their integrity. So they're my first two choices. After that, I don't think I'll vote for the other two.
Georgianne Burke, a longtime Doug Ford supporter, was also there. I asked Georgianne if the Ford Nation brand, which is very strong in various pockets of the GTA, translates all that well outside Toronto.
It's quite amazing. When he came up here to Ottawa, we packed the room, and this is Eastern Ontario, where he really hasn't spent a lot of his political time. He really was a big hit. London, I understand the crowd was huge there. Kitchener, huge also. He has been up north and has been very well received. It's if you think about it, his message is one that would resonate with ordinary, regular Ontario people, voters, people who are hard-pressed by the situation that Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals have left us in. And his message is simple and straightforward, something that everybody can digest and understand and agree with.
And I also asked Georgianne that if Doug prevails as leader, he won't be going up just against the Liberal Party and the New Democratic Party, but also the media party. What will be his strategy in dealing with that onslaught?
I think that Doug actually, God rest his soul, Rob was a different person from Doug. maybe a little more combative. I think Doug is the kind of guy that feels that he's not going to pick any fights with the media. If they want to cover him and they want to be honest about it, they'll just report what he says. If they don't, that's okay. We'll go over their heads and use Twitter and social media to make sure the message gets out to people.
A Trump strategy, then.
Well, you might. I guess you could say that. I think it's a strategy for today. Okay. That's the way things get done. If you can't count on the mainstream media to carry your message, you have to find another way to do it.
Alas, these days it's kind of hard to find Patrick Brown boosters, but we did indeed find at least one at the convention, John McTishan. Now, John gave us an update on the Richmond Hill nomination meeting that took place last Mother's Day, and par for the course, it devolved into a fiasco. And in his assessment, John thought that what happened to Patrick Brown was thanks to a PC party that is no longer professional.
I'm with John McTishan, and the last time I met John, it was on Mother's Day last year. That was when the Richmond Hill nomination riding was contested. And John, you were a supporter of Lara Coombs. It was an incredible story. We were there. We saw it all unfold. It was an absolute tie between Lara Coombs and Daisy Way, and I guess the Riding Association president had the tie-breaking vote. But what I've always scratched my head about is that you never called for a recounting of the ballots to make sure it was indeed a tie.
Well, it was a tie. We had we had scrutineers. We had no question as to that. But when we discovered that we had two supporters in wheelchairs that couldn't get down to 2 flights of stairs, we brought that to the party's attention because they weren't paying attention. And we were shocked that they didn't decide to let those two gentlemen vote.
Well, John, that was the other amazing angle of the story. I was able to interview Brian McLean, I believe, was the name of one of the individuals, and he was, I guess, justifiably upset that it was handicapped, non-accessible, and there was no temporary ramps for handicapped. And his contention was he had the tie-breaking vote because he was a Coombs supporter, and he was even going to go ahead, he said, with an Ontario human rights complaint. Can you give us an update on that?
I'm not really sure what the status is. I mean, as you know, human rights complaints take a long time to hear, unfortunately. But it is something, I think it's a very important thing. I hope he continues with it, because it's something that if parties aren't smart enough to do on their own, then somebody should make them understand it's the law of the land.
In this day and age of handicapped accessibility, why in the world wouldn't the PC party do the due diligence to make sure that was a handicapped accessible facility, or at least bringing temporary ramps to accommodate those people?
Yeah, I really have no idea, but what's more mystifying is that if you look at the last month since Patrick stepped down, Vic Fideli has been very big about banging his chest like Tarzan, saying he's going to clean up the party, he's going to make things better. And Vic Fideli didn't do a thing about Richmond Hill and the two guys in wheelchairs that should have had their votes count.
Now, just to be clear, John, you were indeed a Patrick Brown supporter when he was leader of the party?
Yes, absolutely. Now, to be fair, I was probably one of his biggest fans and one of his biggest critics.
What do you make of, I guess, this circus-like environment that's unfolded in the last month from that day in late January where Patrick Brown announced his first resignation?
I think it's the world of politics as we know it has turned upside down, completely topsy-turvy. The death of professionalism, topic 3 of Patrick's top staff, including his campaign manager and his chief of staff, betrayed him. They were on the payroll to protect him, and they chose, instead of resigning honorably, to knife him in the back and shove him out in front of the media. The other one,
and they went over to the Caroline Mulrooney camp, some of them at least. Right?
One of them did. I'm not sure about the other two. I think one of the other ones, Ali Canvelshi, though, is still on the payroll of Vic Fideli, who apparently was one of the other co-conspirators. Now, I was going to say, so the other thing would be the whole caucus. Up until that point in time, caucuses had been pretty professional, pretty loyal to leaders, certainly to the party, at least in keeping things in-house. And certainly that's, I think we have at the same time the death of professionalism among staff, the death of loyalty and professionalism among our caucus.
Bottom line, keep your seatbelts fastened, folks. The new leader will be chosen next Saturday. Hey, whoever said Ontario politics is boring? For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you heard the news? The Rebel has an all-new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.